Welcome to this edition of Inside Tulsa Athletics. I have a great show today. We're going to talk about the new stadium over at Will Rogers with the principal. We're going to talk about the basketball season. We have 3 basketball coaches coming, and we have 3 football coaches that will be on today. And of course, then we have our sports medicine coordinator who will talk to us about some things that they're dealing with concussion and sickle cell. And then we'll have Mick Wilson, the Deputy Director of Athletics, on our staff to talk about the BOK and the Tournament of Champions. Stay tuned. Well, welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics. And our first guest today has a huge job in this district, our coordinator of sports medicine, Steve Friebus. And Steve, what we want to talk about today really are 3 things that we've been not forced, but asked to make sure we monitor. Diabetes, sickle cell, and concussion. And really sickle cell and concussion are the 2 we really want to emphasize today. So let's talk a little bit about sickle cell awareness.
Yeah, it's become over the last few years a little more prominent, and it's common in certain ethnic groups, in which the one that affects our district the most is African Americans. Mm-hmm. And sickle cell, it's where somebody has a particular gene in the hemoglobin that under certain stresses, it causes the cell to go from round to a crescent shape, like a crescent moon shape. And this can cause blockages in the bloodstream, and where oxygen doesn't get to those working muscles or brain, and so it could be a life-threatening condition.
So what do we do to assist our coaches in being aware of the symptoms and what they need to look for?
Every year when the coach has to view several videos as mandated by the state and the OSSAA, under the heat illness video, it's addressed in that video there, as well as what we're trying to do with the athletic trainers so we can be on alert for it. Sometimes the symptoms look a lot like heat illness, but there are some distinct differences where heat illness typically comes later in the practice as they're becoming dehydrated or overheated, where sickling can occur almost right off the bat, earlier on. Heat illness, they'll talk about heat cramping, where the sickle cell person, their muscles are sore, but they're not cramping. It's a regular feeling muscle that's soft. But they'll feel weak, they'll feel pain, their temperature isn't elevated. It's just because under the exertion, maybe they're doing suicides or sprints or conditioning, is that exertion is causing those cells to sickle.
How then do our coaches, our trainers that are on site, how do you ascertain that this is the case?
Currently what we do is in their pre-participation forms, it is a question that's asked, are you sickle cell positive? Now not everybody knows that they are, yet when children are born and when the hospitals do their blood work on the infants, it is one of the screens that is performed. So if a parent or a child does not know, they can go to their doctor and just request, hey, can you look up my, it's in a national registry, and their doctor can look it up and let them know. And then what we're trying to do is identify those kids, and through this TS3 Foundation, they're offering one of those little rubber wristbands that we could put on these individuals, so that if in practice they kind of are complaining of problems, we're not saying, hey, suck it up, you can gut through this extra one. They'll see that wristband and know, you know what, maybe we should investigate this a little bit further before we press them to go on.
How does that dovetail into the FERPA?
Because it's a voluntary, if the parent and the student, they choose to wear that wristband, and it's not revealing other than you've got this sickle cell trait. It's not in terms of like personal information that you'd be disclosing to the public, and like I said, it's all voluntary, so it's not a violation in that sense.
Really, the benefit to the student athlete, so the coach can
react
immediately, or the trainer in whatever case. So the next biggest thing out there that we deal with almost every week now, it seems
Yeah.
like, is our concussion protocol. So let's go through, how the concussion occurs, and then from the time it occurs and is diagnosed, what we do to follow up.
Okay, so the kid takes a bump blow to the head. They may exhibit symptoms or signs and report symptoms to a coach or an athletic trainer, and when that occurs, they are removed from play and they must be reevaluated by a medical professional. A lot of times what people don't realize, it doesn't seem super bad at the moment of impact, but as time goes on, it's because it's not a physical, it's more chemical that's occurring. And I use the example, sometimes you hit your arm on something and you go, wow, that's going to leave a mark in the morning, and sure enough, in the next morning or 2 days later, you have a bruise. And so the chemical changes that occur in the brain sometimes don't bottom out until 24 to 48 hours later. So we want to follow up to see just how severe those signs and symptoms become. And that's why we do not return them to the game if they're thinking, well, I think I could shake this off, I'm okay. We want to make sure that they're safe. And then they cannot return to play until they have a written clearance from a medical professional. Now, when they get that clearance, we want to make sure they're symptom-free, that all return to learn. They're back in the classroom. We're not making accommodations or modifications to their course load. When that is all okay, now we will start thinking about the return to play. And the return to play is a 5-step process, because maybe the symptoms are not there walking around just with your blood pressure and your heart rate at a normal level. But when we go under load, sometimes those symptoms reoccur. So we gradually, over no less than 5 days, put them through gradually increasing load and making sure that from reaction time, balance, coordination, all that stuff is normal, and they're able to participate in their activity before we say, okay, now you can go live, unrestricted practice or games.
Well, say that I'm a parent and I say, well, my kid's okay, I want my kid to go play. What do you tell them?
It's state law that we have to follow these protocols. It was passed in 2016 that we're going to follow this protocol. It's for the safety of the kid. We've already had 2 kids die in Oklahoma this football season, and I don't know all the final conclusions, but what I've heard from people is that the hits that at the game that they passed away at didn't seem that much, but it kind of indicates that maybe there was something going on earlier, maybe either in practice or the previous game that didn't get reported. And although one of them had an athletic trainer on the game, they don't have an athletic trainer during the week. So there was nobody that they didn't want to tell the coach, hey, I'm not doing well, and so I don't want the coach to think less of me. And I wouldn't think a coach would. I know a lot of coaches, and they want the best for these kids.
Absolutely. So. And so you and Carlos then go around and do benchmark testing with our SWAY program,
yes,
which our coaches have access to.
Yeah, we basically go and baseline test all the athletes in those high-risk sports, so that if we are not sure, we're really going to look at other signs and symptoms. It is one tool. And so we can test their reaction time, their balance, their coordination, things like that. And if it's outside their baseline, and it's a very sensitive tool, so it doesn't take much to be outside that baseline. We know, okay, something's going on, we need to hold you out.
Well, that's great. You guys do a great job taking care of our kids, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
And giving us some of that knowledge. And when we come back after these messages, we'll have Nikki Dennis, who is the principal at Rogers High School. And Rogers is getting a new stadium.
How was school today?
Mrs. Smith, what are you doing?
Recycling.
You can't put plastic bags in the blue recycling cart. But you can recycle this milk jug. You can recycle stuff from all over the house.
You can recycle this empty box.
What about these hangers?
Just aluminum and steel cans, paper and cardboard, plastic bottles and jugs,
glass bottles and jars.
To learn more, check out TulsaRecycles.com.
SNU is proud to announce our Masters in Sport Management and Administration coming to Tulsa in February 2020. Whether your dream is to be a head coach, an athletic director, or working in professional sport, SNU's Masters in Sport Management provides you with the tools you need to achieve your dreams. This 20-month program will meet on Wednesday nights at our Tulsa campus. Take your love for sport to the next level. Visit us online at pgs.snu.edu.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. We have a special guest today, the principal of Will Rogers High School, Nikki Dennis. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I tell you what, we've had a lot of excitement over the past 3 or 4 years at Rogers. It's grown.
It really has.
The student population has grown, and there have been a lot of positive things that have occurred. And of course, as principal, I'm sure you're the leader of that and have been there through that change. But this past Friday, we had a really, really big announcement. Tell our viewers what it was.
So for 80 years, Rogers has been without a football stadium. Originally, I think even when you were a student, you walked across TU and played, but
Yep.
I think since the late 80s or 90s, they've been going to Booker T to play, and it's quite a haul. And we broke ground on Friday at 2 o'clock for the new football, soccer, track stadium that's going to be multi-purpose stadium that will be built right next to the school. And it was a great day for us all.
I think it was. We had over 250 people attend, and with some very established dignitaries in the state of Oklahoma, senators and representatives and so on. And I think that it speaks volumes to the reputation, academic reputation that Will Rogers has had over the years.
Yeah, I think we've done a good job. I've been there this is my 6th year, and I think we've done a good job of providing students that are interested in becoming high school students that take college classes or Tulsa Tech classes and being ready for college upon graduation. We have a three-prong goal of our school. Either a kid joins the military, goes to a tech school, or goes to a 2 or 4 year college, and all of our kids have plans to do that, and that's our ultimate goal. We are totally transfer school, so if you live across the street from Rogers, you have to apply, and there is a small minimum requirement to get into the high school reading score. And that's because we only offer AP classes the junior and senior year for our students. So,
I think one of the real great benefits is the college credit portion of that. Could you talk about that a little bit?
So students that are eligible, that test into TCC are able their first year to take TCC classes on our campus, and then those classes act as graduation credit and also as college credit. That's a great opportunity for kids. We've had kids that have graduated with 30 plus credits. So think about that. You've almost got your first full year of school done. But besides that, we offer a class called College Summit. I think they do at other schools that help kids with kind of those soft skills that they need in order to be college ready. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of exciting. And having the football stadium and soccer and track stadium right on our campus is just, I think, really important to the alums and to the community. I think it says something about Tulsa. I think we're the first football stadium to be built since East Central is what I was reading in the paper. That's pretty exciting.
It is, and and that facility was built kind of jointly with the NAIA because their home office was in Tulsa at the time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, and they said if you build that 9-lane track, we'll run our national championship. And they did that for 3 years, and then they moved back to Kansas.
Oh,
so
I did not know that.
That's why they have the track, and it was a tremendous facility. It was. Yeah, their office was out at 61st and Yale, out in the DoubleTree complex out there, and that's when I was at Northeastern, and we were contemplating leaving, going to the NCAA. And so I wasn't very popular in the NAIA office during that time. But
so they packed up and moved to Kansas.
Packed up and moved back to Kansas. They were in Kansas, and we got them to come down here. But
what year was that?
It was probably 98, 99.
That is interesting.
Sometime in that
time.
time.
Know that.
Anyhow, but having that stadium on campus, I think, does so many more things, I think, for the school pride and how even the students feel about what's going on at Rogers.
Absolutely, and also for the community. I know it'll be a little bit of an inconvenience during soccer and track season, but there's a lot of research that says that schools that have active environments and where people are using it, it raises the property value, but it also decreases crime. You know, that seems kind of counterintuitive, but crime often happens in kind of quiet places where nobody's around. So, you know, when there's a lot of community members and students out there, there's less likely to have the vandalism that they have in other spots.
Well, you know, in the fall and the spring, it certainly won't be dark either.
No, it won't.
When we turn the lights on in the stadium.
I'm so excited. And as a person that loves athletics, my kids were athletes and I as an athlete, I really believe, you know, and I was in the band, I really believe in those opportunities for kids to have extracurricular activities. I know our band is really looking forward to it because there's actually going to be a small spot for them to practice marching. And you know, our football coaches have been really, and soccer coaches have been good about sharing space, but it is sometimes tight out there when you're trying to get ready for a band competition and you're trying to get rid of a football game. So having that big facility will be really great for our kids.
Well, and to be able to actually hold a home track meet, you know, a big triangular or a invitational, or to have the soccer match or have a soccer tournament.
Yeah.
I think it lends so well to the community to really revitalize that community around Rogers like it once was.
I really want to thank the voters. I think there was like 85% approval rating. I just think it says a lot about the city of Tulsa and the investment we have in our students. And you know, a lot of times I think Tulsa TPS gets a bad rap, but I think those people that live in the community support Tulsa Public Schools, and those that went to Rogers still have a fondness for the school.
Absolutely.
It's kind of iconic. It holds a special place in our hearts. Today at our school we had Will Week, which is a week-long celebration about Will Rogers and his importance. And today was Outsider Day, so people were dressed as greasers or socias. And normally I would be a greaser, but I came as a soch since I'm on your show.
Absolutely.
And it just, you know, it just talks about how important schools like Rogers and Webster and Central and those historic McLean, those historic schools are to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to diss anybody, but how important those schools are to the city and the culture and the people that live in this great city.
Well, I think so too, and like I said, I think that will revitalize that area because of the traffic and the activity that will be going on in the evenings, and people more coming to that when they've been leaving that community. Now they'll be coming there for entertainment. I think it's fantastic.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because I actually think that Rogers community in the last few years, the houses have increased stable ownership.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And I think it's all about having a great educational facility in the middle of that.
It has.
And well, Nikki, thank you so much for coming
today.
Thank
you. I really had a good time.
Appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, when we come back, I'm going to have Conley Phipps, the head basketball coach at Booker T. Washington.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
How was school today?
Mrs. Smith, what are you doing?
Recycling.
You can't put plastic bags in the blue recycling cart, but you can recycle this milk jug. You can recycle stuff from all over the house.
You can recycle this empty box.
What about these hangers?
Just aluminum and steel cans, paper and cardboard, plastic bottles and jugs,
Glass bottles and jars.
To learn more, check out TulsaRecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have the head basketball coach at Booker T. Washington, the defending state championship coach, Conley Phipps. Conley, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Coach. Good to see you.
Well, I tell you what, anticipating the coming year, I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing how the Hornets play this year.
Well, you know, we're all excited. Got a really good group coming back, led by my three seniors, Bryce Thompson, Jalen Brett, and Trey Phipps, and got some good young guys. And, you know, they're working hard, and you know, chasing the gold ball, so things are going good.
Well, I tell you, once you get there and get a taste of that, it's you got to go back.
I tell you, you know, last year was my first time to win a gold ball, and you know, that's absolutely the truth. I mean, I want it more now than I did last year, and it's amazing how that works.
It is. What a great experience for your kids and for the school, and obviously for the district. I think it's good.
Yeah, you know, that was Booker T's 16th, and you know, what history and coaches and players have been through there. So it was really a need for our team to be able to add to that history last year.
Well, as you get prepared for this season, I mean, you obviously have quality players. What are you looking for in your scrimmages before you get started?
Well, I think the thing that we did this year, we have a very tough scrimmage schedule. You know, this past Saturday we were at Broken Arrow, big showcase scrimmage some really good teams. This weekend we're going to Elite 14 down in Wichita Falls. The last Saturday, well, the 23rd of November, we're going up to Edmond to a big scrimmage with some 6A schools, and you know, so we're looking competition, you know, trying to get better at those scrimmages, figure out what we need to get better on before the season starts. And you know, we play, you know, our season schedule's about as difficult as it can be.
No question.
I mean, you know the places we're going and the teams we're playing. So, you know, our guys want to do that. So, you know, we've scheduled up in every way we can do it, and you know, working hard, and hopefully things will go well.
What a lot of people don't realize is that when you play that level of competition, you're obviously getting better if you use the right approach to coach. You coach through those times. And a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, well, and that's a tool to get better. I mean, it's one thing to, you know, schedule, you know, 20 wins. It's another thing to play the best people you can play and be your best, you know, at the end of February and the 1st of March.
Well, you can schedule those 20 wins, but if you're 0-1 in the regional, you're done.
That's right. That's right. That's a great point. That's a great point.
Does not make a whole lot of difference. You know, what have you done for me lately? Well, as you get ready to play, let's talk about the Frontier Conference. Obviously, a tough conference. Every Tuesday and Friday's a war, and good places to play, but tough places to play.
Very, very tough. You know, it's a great conference. Great coaches in that league. Been great players that come through there. A lot of support in those communities. You know, it doesn't matter if you're going to play, let's just say, the worst team in the Frontier, or you're going to play the best team in the Frontier. You better be ready to play, or you're going to be in trouble. And you know, and I think that goes a long way to preparing us, you know, for the playoffs as well, and being in adverse situations. And everybody's got their, you know, their student section getting on you, and it's you know, it's a tough deal every night in the Frontier.
Who's going to be the front runner aside from the Hornets?
Well, I think you know, there's 2 or 3. I think Sapulpa will be really good. They have some pieces back. You know, Broken Arrow was young last year. They've got a chance to be better. Owas has got a couple nice pieces that were young last year. You know, Union's always good. Jinx, you know, Clay can, you know, coach anybody. You know,
well, they think they're going to be better.
Yeah, and I think they will be too. You know, everybody lost some really good players, including us, but you know, at that level, everybody has good players waiting to step in and play. So it'll be interesting. There's always a few surprises.
You know, you coached at a lot of different levels. Talk about 6A basketball in Oklahoma. What's the level of 6A basketball, say, on a nationwide basis?
It's on par with any big school basketball in any of these states. You know, we've been to Texas the last 3 years to scrimmage and play, and you know, we've played with the Duncanvilles, we've played with the Denton Geyers. You know, 6A basketball in the state of Oklahoma is great, and you know, it travels. You can take 6A basketball in the state of Oklahoma anywhere and compete on a national level.
So you've got a kind of unique travel situation going to Missouri. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, we December 7th. It's a long story, so we don't have time. But anyway, I end up committing to go to the Norm Stewart Classic and play. We're playing live on ESPNU, and I committed to that. And then they said it's a 7 a.m. tip, and I'm like, well, okay. So that's kind of unique.
You bet.
But Norm Stewart Classic, it's a Coaches versus Cancer event. They play 24 hours of basketball, play 12 games. They start them every 2 hours, and they've got 2 slots there for nationally televised games. So we're playing St. Louis Christian at 7 a.m. So we're looking forward to it.
That'll be a great trip.
Yeah.
With that type of notoriety and coverage from the media, I think it's got to excite the kids.
Yeah, they're excited about it. 7 a.m. Be a little different, but a lot of times, AAU events, they're up and they've got to be ready to play at that time. And then as you know, we're also going to Springfield to play in the Bass Pro.
Right.
Teams from North Carolina, New York, just fantastic competition down at the Bass Pro.
That's always been a great trip. I know when I was at Union, we went with Coach Cleveland and our crew up there 2 or 3 years, and it's really neat. And it's not that far,
right?
To get up to Springfield and everything. So now that is when is that tournament?
I believe it's the 15th, 16th, and 17th of January, or the 16th, 17th, 18th of January. So
of course, then Tournament Champions.
Right, Tournament Champions. My favorite thing to do. It's my absolute favorite thing to do. Was I grew up going to that with my dad and played in it as a high school player, and any opportunity that we would ever get to play in there, we're going to do that. Guys love it, playing at ORU, big time atmosphere, best tournament in Oklahoma.
The field is going to be very formidable this year.
Very good. Well, 4A, 5A, 6A champion last year.
Correct.
3A, 4A, 5A, 6A
and then a great
champion.
player from Duke.
Yes.
That will be coming up, and we talked to those folks the other day, and they've already booked 10 rooms at the Doubletree.
Oh, is that
they're
right?
ready to come right now. So,
yeah.
Well, Conley, good luck this season, and we'll
Coach,
have
I
you back, I'm
appreciate
sure, many times. And when we come back, we're going to have Tony Daniels, the head football coach and athletic director at Edison.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. We have now the head coach and athletic director of Thomas Edison Prep High School, Tony Daniels. Tony, welcome to the show, and you're getting to be a regular here on the show.
Thanks for having me. Always enjoy it.
It's great to be a regular because that means you're winning.
That
sometimes.
is, yes.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you had quite a season, 8-1, and 8 in a row, I guess. And now we come down to the last game of the season. You got Ada, and then a playoff game. Tell us a little bit about Ada.
So Ada, I'm excited about going down to Ada. It's going to be a nice little 2-hour bus trip. And Ada, I've never been to East Central University.
Oh, really?
So to go there for the first time, and with the tradition that they have there, not only just at the college, but just the atmosphere. I'm excited to see that and get down there and just kind of oversee everything and just see how everything plays out. But we're excited about making the trip down there.
It's a football town. When I coached at McAllister, McAllister and Ada was a big rivalry, and we couldn't play them for a couple of years because of different classes, so we scrimmaged. And my God, the scrimmage was like a war. I mean, it was Ada, it was. So it'll be a great experience, I think, for our kids to play down there in Ada, and it'll be a good crowd. It'll be senior night for them, I'm sure.
It will be.
All the festivities and so on. So. What kind of offense does Ada run?
They're a little bit of a mixture. They're a mixture between spread, depending on what quarterback they want to try and use, and and a lot of jet sweep, and a little bit of power run game, and they try and throw the ball around just a little bit, but they definitely try and hit you with the run game.
I see. And defensively, what will they throw up against your offense?
Stack the box, 3-4, bring pressure. They're pretty. They fly around, and they do a really good job of getting downhill and making reads and doing their job. And the fundamental, Coach Chris that's over there that I've been able to know here for the last couple of years is a really good guy, and really like him, and he's been a part of that program for quite some time, and as an assistant, as a head coach. But he's been doing a great job, and they fly around and like hitting people.
I think people don't realize what tradition they have at Ada. When I was coaching at Cameron University, I had my center was Charlie Golightly, and Charlie was the principal at Ada High School. I don't know if he still is or not, but he played football at Ada. Now, he'd been in college for 4 years, and we were working on a double team block, and he broke the double team block, and when he went through, he went, "Cougars." And I said, "Charlie, you're a senior in college. We're Aggies." But it is so ingrained with their football team, and it being their last home game, it'll be a tough football game, I think, for you.
Absolutely, it will.
Yeah. So I know you don't like to look forward, but you are district champions, and congratulations on that. That's a tremendous, I think, from where you were 4 or 5 years ago and where you are today, bringing the program. I think everybody should really appreciate that. Had a special guest on Friday come in and talk to the team.
Yes, Bill Goldberg, who graduated, and actually I found out in just talking to him a little bit more before he talked to our players, his big brother was Spencer Tillman when he was there. So kind of showed him the ropes and, let him know what Eagle football was about. So got to talk to him about that, and just the kids didn't know, he'd just come walking in, and they were excited in seeing him, and he just, talked about something that they weren't able to accomplish while he was there and be district champs. And all we had to do was go out last Friday at home. So it was a great night. I just kept telling our kids, and even Bill had mentioned it, you've got something special. You've got something you can go remember senior night the rest of your life, but also to go ahead and get the win, right, and also be district champions.
Yeah, well, that's a great experience to have those kind of people still relate to the program, I think, and he's been very loyal.
Yes, that's the second time back.
And moving back to this part of the country, he's moving back to San Antonio.
Yes.
He said he wants to leave California, so that's great. So you look at the getting through this week at Ada. What looks like the opponent might be in the first round? I know there's probably a couple of choices.
Yeah, there's a couple scenarios. It could end up being Claremore, and it could be Pryor, which we haven't played Pryor, in the last, since I've been here, we haven't. Claremore's definitely a team that we played twice last year, and we've played every time, so they're definitely somebody that we look at, and they've always done a good job. But one of those two, I think, we'll end up playing.
Is it easier or harder to play somebody you haven't played or somebody you've already played and played a lot?
I've thought about that, and I wonder, in a season, no matter what's going on, I think it's hard to play a team twice. And if you've already beat them, it's harder to come back to try and beat them again. So we know a lot about Claremore. There's a lot of things that we know. I think that could help us. But also at the same time, it's just the unknown of Pryor. They've scored a lot of points. They've done a really good job. Over there, they've beaten Skytook, which it could end up in a three-way tie. So depending on how all that works out, I think it would be a little bit harder to face somebody that you've already beat.
I do too. That's because the mental aspect of your student athletes, they're going to dwell, well, we beat them. Second game, third game of the season, and beat them handily. I was at that game, and I thought your defense dominated them offensively. They could not move the football. And of course, then you're right about Pryor. Pryor has scored a lot of points. I mean, they're. But here's the thing, I think, and see what you think about this, that 5A is wide open this year. I don't know if there's a lock cinch bet anywhere. I think everybody's got a chance to win.
I think so too. You've got the district out there with Piedmont, and Carl Albert, and Bishop McGuinness, and they're all tied into one district. But
Right.
other than that, a lot of teams that have lost that have built their way back up into the top 10 and have really done a good job. So it's wide open.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when the pairings come out and so on and so forth. Real quickly, in the last 30 seconds or so, you feel pretty good about staying in 5A. The numbers are going to be out just shortly after Thanksgiving.
They will. I feel pretty good right now. I think I won't. It just depend on where the numbers come out, where everybody kind of sits, and where we're at. But until we get those numbers, I'll definitely feel.
It's kind of interesting, what's happened because of the re-entry of two of the Oklahoma City schools back into the playoff scenario. It's been a little difficult for them to get all those numbers. We went with a September number rather than a May number for the ADM, and that's why it's going to be after the first of the year before we know who our districts are. Well, good luck. I hope you have a great season-ending game and a playoff game, and we'll be back after this message, and we'll have Mick Wilson, Deputy Director of Athletics, to talk about the Tournament of Champions.
Athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLean, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
How was school today?
Mrs. Smith, what are you doing?
Recycling.
You can't put plastic bags in the blue recycling cart, but you can recycle this milk jug. You can recycle stuff from all over the house.
You can recycle this empty box.
What about these hangers?
Just aluminum and steel cans, paper and cardboard, plastic bottles and jugs,
Glass bottles and jars.
To learn more, check out TulsaRecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and today we have our Deputy Director of Athletics, Mick Wilson, and Mick has two huge jobs, compliance and the Tournament of Champions, and then we tack on the BOK Showcase. So let's talk about the Tournament of Champions, Mick. It should be a great tournament this year.
I'm always ready to talk about that, but we don't want to talk about compliance. So the viewers would change the channel immediately. Right. So let's try to give them something that they'll enjoy talking or listening to. So Tournament Champions, another great year, another great field. Excited about the potential and the possibilities of not only some really good teams, but some great attendance, some really good basketball, some great coaching, and as always, we've got some marquee players.
I think that's the key. The number of really college preferred players everywhere from Division II up to D1, I think we'll have in this in the tournament this year, and highly recruited. And I think we look at having a lot of intercollegiate coaches at the tournament this year.
I think we'll have just as good a crowd this year as we did last year. I think it's going to be an exciting time. Bobby Allison will send me a text message the other day of the NBA players that we've had in the Tournament of Champions over the last 10 to 15 years, and it's a really impressive list going back from Shake Milton, Daquan Jeffries. Several of those guys have all played the Tournament of Champions, and we're excited about another great group headed by obviously our two star guards from Booker T. Washington. So it's going to be another fun time. Get to see some really good players and come out for a good part of basketball. And on the flip side, our girls tournament, on the girls side, some really competitive teams, again, some good players, some teams that have never been to the Tournament Champions before that are excited to be here. So I think you're going to see a really good brand of basketball. We're going to see some teams playing really hard to represent their schools and their communities.
We have both defending champions coming back, do we not?
We do, and with Memorial and Booker T both being in the tournament and actually playing one another for the championship last year, it makes for another great showdown. And as TPS employees, we can't be ashamed of that. We're always proud of what our basketball brings across the board, not only with Booker T. Washington and Memorial, but all of our boys. You've heard me say now for a year that I think our girls is kind of on a resurgence, and they're back playing well. And Rogers going far into the state tournament last year was a great example of that. So I think, well, again, we're going to see, speaking of Rogers, they will be in the tournament champions, only losing one senior last year, with a great group of girls and Coach Adkism, and that bunch will be here, and I think it'll be fun to watch them as well.
Well, I'm excited about basketball in general because I think with Coach Asbury going to Memorial now, and of course Coach Leva returning almost all his team at Booker T, the girls are going to be as balanced as getting as balanced as the boys bracket.
I think so, and it'll be there'll be some teams that historically have been pretty good, but it's like I said, with Oologah and Kellyville and some other teams that have been successful but have never been in the tournament champions before. It's going to be real interesting to see them play and perform.
Well, they'll be excited, I think, to be a part of the aura of the tournament champions. So when is the press conference when we'll release the parades?
Well, we've started work on the brackets a little bit. It's funny, I got an email today from one of the coaches wanting to know when the seeding meeting is, and I said there's no seeding meeting with the tournament champions. You're going to get who you get, and that's part of it. We've been through that before with other coaches wanting to know how we seed those, and there's really no secret to it. We try to match them up, and that's the great thing about the tournament. It's the David and Goliath format. You try to put the 5A or 6A school against the A or 2A or B in some cases. So you just try to match them up, and to be honest with you, you look at how far they have to travel. You look at crowd matchup and attendance and things like that. So there's a lot of things that go into that, but no seating, so to speak. But it'll be a great time. The press conference coming up when we will unveil the brackets will be on Wednesday, December 4th. A big day out at the Doubletree Warren Place. We have moved the press conference there, and the luncheon as well with the coaches. We'll have the sports animal there live doing the midday show with Coach Jones. So it'll be another exciting time.
Well, I can't wait to get to this year, because I know, just looking at the bios of some of the players that'll be there, every game is almost, every game's like a state final. It just seems like the intensity is so much in the room at the Mabee Center, and of course they've made some improvements to the Mabee Center. Big new video board and scoring thing. So that adds to the tournament, I think, as well.
It really does, Gil. I think we try to put on a first-class tournament, but in the case of RU, they try to put their best foot forward as well. They know that the tournament champions brings in 16 high schools with potential students, kids that want to see the campus, and they get on campus, and what a beautiful place it is. So they always do a great job of putting their best foot forward too, and making sure that we have everything we need to put on a great tournament.
And of course, Jen Sanders on our staff lines up the halftime entertainment, and I think she announced this morning she had all but 2 slots filled. So it is a constant day of not only basketball but entertainment, family type entertainment. I think it's for the teams to come and travel to Tulsa for 3 days. It's a great getaway vacation.
You know, there's no school going on during that time, so the kids don't have to worry about homework. There's no tests. There's nothing really going on except come and relax, play some basketball, have a good time. It's right after Christmas, so you're still in that holiday mode, festive mode, and having a good time. So it's great to see the kids perform. It's great to see them having a lot of fun and just in a really relaxed environment on a beautiful campus and a great facility.
Well, in the last minute or 2 minutes we have here, let's talk a little bit about the BOK.
Well, we've had some challenges this year just because of scheduling, and I think both Evan and Lee and some of the gang down at SMG would tell you that we've battled through that. You know, they have to dance a slippery slope because of the hockey with Oilers, and then of concerts. We've been through that before.
Right.
So just getting the date nailed down sometimes is a real challenge, but once we're able to nail down the date, then we're able to start trying to find some teams that look forward to coming and playing. Some teams have been there before, most have not, but it offers our kids in Northeast Oklahoma a chance to play in a world-class venue, and that's part of really their community outreach from SMG and the BOK Center people, that they really like hosting the kids and getting them into the arena. So it's just it's a great time, and looking forward to another great year.
So the date we're looking at is
Saturday, February the 2nd. Or was that the 1st? I can't remember. The 2nd, I believe. Mm-hmm. And we've always tried now the last few years to stay on that first Saturday in February, so that we're trying to get around hockey. Hockey's our biggest deterrent, obstacle to overcome with scheduling the BOK Center. But it'll be another great year, and looking forward to these kids getting a chance to
Well, we are too. I think that those are two great basketball and the tournament and the Hall of Fame is sandwiched in between both of them. So we have 3 months there where we're pretty busy with outside events. And
one game, Gil, I'm really looking forward to, and we've talked about this, is such the great tradition of Central and McLean boys basketball, and being able to potentially put that game in the BOK Center. I'm really looking forward to that.
That'll be outstanding. Well, thanks for being here and telling them about basketball. We'll have you back because we have a lot of basketball yet to do.
We'll talk basketball all day.
Oh, man. And when we come back, we're going to have Brad Calip, who's the athletic director and head football coach at Booker T. Washington.
SNU is proud to announce our Masters in Sport Management and Administration coming to Tulsa in February 2020. Whether your dream is to be a head coach, an athletic director, or working in professional sport, SNU's Masters in Sport Management provides you with the tools you need to achieve your dreams. This 20-month program will meet on Wednesday nights at our Tulsa campus. Take your love for sport to the next level. Visit us online at pgs.snu.edu.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the Director of Athletics and the head football coach at Booker T. Washington, Brad Calip. And Brad, it's been an up and down year this year.
Oh yeah, it has been, and we just kind of still making our same mistakes. But you know what? It's a young team, and we last week played pretty well. Played Ponca City and won 31-14, and now we close the season with Sand Springs, and hopefully look, toward the playoffs. So it's a new season. That's why I addressed to those guys. We got to win this one and get to the new season.
You get the last 2 or 3 games. It's really when the playoffs start.
Yes.
Because you got to finish strong.
Oh yeah.
To get into the playoffs.
Exactly.
And, well, what does Sand Springs bring to the table offensively?
It's kind of been like a rival, since I've been here, and they've been down a couple of years, but their head coach does a great job over there. Like I said, a Pennington kid. I think he has another brother that played in the past, and a sister that plays for softball for Oklahoma State. What they're going to bring is the Creek County ball. Well, they're going to hit you, and they're going to try to rally us. They don't have nothing to lose. They're not going to make the playoffs, so we play over there. So we're going to play very well, and so I think we can jump on them. I think they'll lay down, but either way, we go to the playoffs, and it could be the 3rd place or 4th place. So it's critical that we win that game to finish 3rd.
You do, and you of course will be over at Sand Springs, so it'll be senior night for them, and they'll be all pumped up and everything for that.
Yeah.
So if you, I know you don't like to look ahead, but and looking ahead to the playoffs after you get through this week, who are some of the potential opponents you might have?
We kind of dissected the other day. I think number 2 and number 3 play. Number 2 Stillwater plays Dale City, and I think we're going to play the loser out of that game. Last year it was a close game, and Stillwater pulled it out. So we can either play Stillwater or Dale City. So it's going to be tough. Losing to Muskogee kind of puts us in a position to kind of go this path, and if we win that one, we're going to have to play the Bixby Spartans, and so it doesn't get easy, and that's why I told our guys, I say we got to roll our sleeves up and finish strong this Friday, and because the next 3 games are going to be pretty softy.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, of course, people talk around the state that Bixby and Stillwater are just a little bit better than everybody else, but that's why you play the games.
Right.
You can't mail them in.
Exactly.
You got to go play them.
Exactly.
And so, what does your injury situation look like?
We're healthy. J.J. Hester didn't play this past week, and had a slight concussion, so we just held him out. But other than that, we should be pretty healthy, and that's why I told him yesterday. I said we got to stay healthy the next 4 weeks to make a run. And like I said, we held Bixby to the lowest points all year. So, and we know each other very well, and we the only one beat them in 6A2, and no one has ever done that. So, I think they want to avoid us if they can. But I'm getting ready to start a freshman quarterback, and I got a freshman running back. I got a freshman receiver. So we're young, and so my goal is, and my coaching staff is that we got to get in the playoff and kind of, hopefully we can kind of make a little run there to kind of give those guys some experience.
Well, with that youth you have in those skill positions, not to really look forward, but I mean, what does it look like next year?
Oh, it's going to be pretty good. I mean, we're going to return a lot of starters next year, and like I said, we just trying to get these guys as deep as we can in the playoffs, and just kind of give them a little taste of that. And because the next couple of years, we're going to be pretty good.
That playoff experience is really important.
It's very important. It's very important. And like I said, the end of this week, about 75% of people are going to be taking inventory and putting their helmets up and shoulder pads up, and we don't want to do that. We want to expose these guys, and like I said, I just told those guys, you know, December, November, December is when you want to play, and anything can happen. You sit on TV all the time, people get upset, but we just got to keep going and peak at the right time and finish well against, you know, Sand Springs, and then get in the playoffs, and, you know, anything can happen then.
Mm-hmm. You have some student athletes that are being recruited. What's some of the news on that that's out there?
You know, we're going to have our Mike linebacker, Krishan Brown, is committed to KU, and he's been playing well. I think he had like 25 tackles last week against Ponca City. And of course, you know, J.J. Hester is going to Missouri, and he's been playing very well. He had a great game against Muskogee and got a slight concussion. We're going to hold him out, but you know, Gentry Williams, my sophomore, he got offers from OU, OSU, and Krishan Parker, one of my corners, he just got offered by Nebraska, and OU looking at him. So we have the potential there, but we all need to be there together to have a chance to win it. We can't have anyone you know, missing games and from injuries, because we just don't have that much depth.
Exactly. So as you look at the overall program as a director of athletics, basketball looks like a pretty good winter for you.
Oh, yes. I think our boys are, I think they're going to be in the run to kind of repeat again. And, of course, our girls are pretty good. I mean, they were young last year, and Coach Leyva, he does a good job there. So I'm looking forward to that season, because it's going to be some exciting basketball. And like I said, the boys can shoot it out. They have, I think, Bryce Thompson going to make his grand finale announcement, I think, on the 12th, I believe, where he's going to go to school, and we're going to have ESPN on campus with CBS Sports.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
So it's going to we haven't had that in a long time, and you know, it's been a tradition of guys who came through Booker T, but this guy is one of the big ones. So I'm looking forward for both girls and boys to do very well this year.
Trey's committed to OU.
He's going to OU, and so it's going to be some good things. I mean, it's going to have to take a really good team to beat, you know, both of our girls and boys.
And Conley's kind of belied our theory in football that you need to have two divisions, because I guess in basketball you don't.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
The difference is it only takes 5 instead of 11.
Exactly.
Exactly. I've had that same conversation with David Jackson a number of times with the Activity Association. Well, good luck in your final game of the regular season, and we'll look forward to the playoffs. And the second round is neutral site, is it not?
Yes. We'll be on the road the whole time, and the second round is neutral site, so we have to play either Stillwater or Dale City at their place.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks for being here. We certainly are glad you joined us today, and good luck.
Well, thank you.
And when we come back, we'll wrap up the show with my closing comment.
How was school today?
Mrs. Smith, what are you doing?
Recycling.
You can't put plastic bags in the blue recycling cart, but you can recycle this milk jug. You can recycle stuff from all over the house.
You can recycle this empty box.
What about these hangers?
Just aluminum and steel cans, paper and cardboard, plastic bottles and jugs,
Glass bottles and jars.
To learn more, check out TulsaRecycles.com.
I hope you enjoyed our show today. There's something I want to talk to you about relevant to intercollegiate athletics. I think it's a shame that we're actually starting to talk about paying college athletes to participate in athletics, and we pay their way through school. I think we're going down a slippery slope that will not be good in the long run for intercollegiate athletics, and the have schools will continue to have, and the have-nots will continue not to have. And I think that's going to be a very difficult thing for intercollegiate athletics as we go through, because there are schools that will not be afford the finance to be able to play those players, and it's going to be outstanding for those who can. And I think there'll be a separation there between the Power Five and the other five, and I think that's unfortunate for our student athletes as they go into their college careers. The other thing I want to talk to you a little bit about is supporting your schools as we get into the reshaping of the Tulsa Public Schools. You know that we're looking at a deficit of $20 million. I think it's important that on the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th of December, there'll be forums that will be held at 4 of our gymnasiums on the high school campuses. And I encourage you, when those dates and times are finalized in the newspaper, to make sure that you attend one of those if you truly care about education in the city of Tulsa. You know, it's a big, big, big thing that we're trying to do, and we're trying to do it with a lot less money than we have in the past. I think it's important that you become involved, you get involved with your legislature, and make sure that our city fathers, our mayor, and all those people are involved with promoting education as well. It's the future that we have for the city of Tulsa. Our students try and strive every day to do the best that they can do. It is a much more difficult job for us to be able to do this when we have less dollars every year based on inflation and the cost of doing business. I hope you enjoy the show. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll have these closing comments after these messages.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
SNU is proud to announce our Masters in Sport Management and Administration coming to Tulsa in February 2020. Whether your dream is to be a head coach, an athletic director, or working in professional sport, SNU's Masters in Sport Management provides you with the tools you need to achieve your dreams. This 20-month program will meet on Wednesday nights at our Tulsa campus. Take your love for sport to the next level. Visit us online at pgs.snu.edu.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our show today. I think there's a lot of information that was transmitted that normally doesn't get out. We will have another show in 2 weeks. We'll be in the midst of playoffs at that time, and also the basketball season will be kicked off along with wrestling and swimming, and we'll have coaches from those sports join us at that time. Have a great week in Tulsa, and we will see you in 2 weeks.